Welcome back to another Kaiju film discussion. As you can see here by the awesome figures I have here, Titanosaurus, Godzilla, and Mechagodzilla. Obviously, I'm talking about the iconic film that closed out the illustrious Godzilla film series of the Showa period, Terror of Mechagodzilla. Let me give a huge shout out to three special people that made this video possible. Number one, thank you Steve Harron for providing your picks. You'll see Steve Harron diorama pics of using figures, X plus figures or whatever, showcasing, recreating scenes of the movie as you've seen in past some audio discussions of mine. Also John Ruffin, you'll see the same thing. Awesome pics to recreate scenes of this great movie. Check out Steve Harron on Facebook and check out John Ruffin on Facebook, and also check out John Ruffin's website where you see more imagery like this and just awesome stuff. mykaiju.com. And last but not least, thank you Everett Grondin from GodzillaFanFreaks here on YouTube. Thank you so much for being a part of this discussion. And it's so apropos that I wanted to do this discussion with Everett because I know that he is Titanosaurus' #1 fan, and obviously Terror of Mechagodzilla is his favorite film in the entire Godzilla franchise. So I thought who better than to have this discussion with the #1 fan of the film. So that's why I have Everett on board here. So thank all three of y'all for making this video possible. Alright, and I thank all of y'all for taking the time to watch this video. Hope y'all enjoy the commentary of the final film of the illustrious Godzilla Showa film period, Terror of Mechagodzilla. Alright, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Y'all take it easy.
Yeah! Are y'all ready? Are y'all ready? What? Yeah! Y'all ready to play some football? Just tap it. Let's go! If you want it, you can get it. Let me know.
What is going on, people? LP2000 right back at you with another video, and this time I'm doing another Kaiju discussion, and I have on the line with me one of the best Godzilla YouTubers out there and a great friend of mine on the S Plus Collectors Facebook group, Godzilla Collectors Facebook group, Everett Grondin, but you know him better, or know him best rather, as Godzilla FanFreaks here on YouTube. Everett, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing really good. Really happy to be here and doing this video, audio review with you on Terror of Mechagodzilla. Really happy to be here.
And I think this is so appropriate because you know I met you at G-Fest last year. Had a wonderful time with you. You're a great guy. Which is why y'all should subscribe to his channel, Godzilla FanFreaks. And also, let me just preface this by saying this, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations on 900 subscribers. I know you got more than 900 now, but congratulations on that milestone. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
And you know what? His content is so well deserved of those numbers. He should have a whole lot more, but I know he will get there at some point. So subscribe to his channel, Godzilla FanFreaks, for figure reviews, discussions, just a great guy. It's just he's just great on so many levels. So please subscribe to his channel. You will not be disappointed. And it's appropriate that I have Everett here for this discussion on the final film in the illustrious Showa Godzilla film franchise, Terror of Mechagodzilla, because this is his favorite Godzilla film, and mostly in part is because of Titanosaurus, one of the main monsters of the film. So Everett, can you let's just jump head first right into it and just tell me why do you love Terror of Mechagodzilla so much?
The reason I love Terror of Mechagodzilla so much, other than Titanosaurus being my favorite monster, is you got Yashiro Honda back in the director's chair to finish out the Showa series. You know, you got the director that started it all, finishing it all. I mean, you can't ask for more than that.
Absolutely. And you also have Akira Ifukube coming back, and because we haven't seen him direct an original score, I believe, since Destroy All Monsters. Now, his music was used in Godzilla vs. Gigan, but those were just music that was pulled from other films that he scored. So he didn't really do an original score for that film. It was just stock music. This is him coming back for the first time, I believe, for a Godzilla film in 7 years. And you're right, you got Ishiro Honda coming back, Akira Ifukube coming back. But you know what? After doing some research for this film, I found out that this film was actually the script was written by the first and only female writer, and her name was Yukiko Takayama. And considering the whole storyline behind Katsura, you kind of understand that. But I never knew that this script was the only Godzilla film that a female writer ever done. So that was fun to know. But let me also ask you, when did you come about seeing this film for the first time?
I came about seeing this film, I believe it was either on TNT Monster Vision or Godzilla Incorporated on Sci-Fi when those channels would run their science fiction, mini monster movie marathons and everything. And my father ended up recording it on VHS for me, and that's how I came about it. Just, watching it on recorded VHS. And then down the road, I think like a few years later, I ended up getting a legit VHS version of it.
Okay.
But that's how it came to me.
Was this your first Godzilla film that you ever saw?
No, it wasn't the first Godzilla film I ever saw. The first Godzilla film I ever saw was actually the 1954 with Raymond Burr.
You know what? That's so fitting, considering that that was the first film you ever saw, and yet the one that ended the series on the opposite side is your favorite. That's very, very, very interesting. For me, how I came about seeing this film, and I'm gonna give the short version. Basically, I used to, back in the day, all we had was VHS tapes of certain Godzilla films, and on the end of Mothra vs. Godzilla, back then it was called Godzilla vs. Mothra, the '64 film, they showed 3 trailers of Godzilla film. One was for Monster Zero, one was for Godzilla vs. Mothra. I don't know why they put the trailer in on the tail end of the movie that we just watched. And the third one was Terror of Mechagodzilla. And mind you, I did not know Terror of Mechagodzilla even existed. It showed footage of Titanosaurus, Godzilla, Mechagodzilla battling at the end. And I was really, really astounded by it. I'm like, wow. Because I recognized the suit was the same suit from Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. So I was like, oh, so they made a movie after Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. Because they, when the films came to the States, they came like sometimes at random. Sometimes, like for example, Monster Zero, it came out in like 1965. I don't think it came to the States until like maybe 3 or 4 years later. But fast forward, because when I saw that trailer for Terror of Mechagodzilla, I was like maybe like 14 or 15. A couple years later, when I got, excuse me, I was like 13. A couple years later, I went to Chicago for a band trip because I was in a band in high school. And ironically, since it's the home of G-Fest, I went into a video store and I saw a copy of Terror of Mechagodzilla. And as soon as we got home, I popped it in, and I was really, really, really blown away by it. And that's how I was exposed to this great movie. So you know what? Let's go into it. So first off, I kind of know what's gonna be the first thing about the question I'm going to ask you, but let's just go into it. What do you like most about Terror of Mechagodzilla? What I like most about Terror of Mechagodzilla, I really like the story, how it picks up right off of Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. Mm-hmm. And just how it evolves into something a lot more than you think. I mean, it's just not the aliens bringing Mechagodzilla back. It's bringing Mechagodzilla back with another monster to fight alongside him, which again is opposite of what the previous movie was, because in the previous movie it was 2 monsters on Mechagodzilla. Now it's 2 monsters on Godzilla. Right. And what else do you like about this film? The special effects are out of this world. I just love it when Mechagodzilla is just demolishing the city. Just those explosions are just incredible. Right. Just outstanding. Right. So basically, just go ahead and set them off. Like, just tell me everything that you like about Terror of Mechagodzilla. Then we're going into the dislikes. Okay, so let's see. Of course, I like Titanosaurus. Shocking. That's the number one thing that I like about the movie. The story, the special effects. I mean, you just can't go wrong. The monster suits, they all look great. I mean, that's pretty much it in a nutshell right there. I mean, Okay.
I can't think of what else I would think. I mean, again, the story really grabs you, especially when you get further into it, and then you realize, how much Katsura is involved, and she ends up actually being the controller of Mechagodzilla.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy in itself.
Absolutely. You know what? I kind of run into the same problems when I talk about Mothra vs. Godzilla, or why I like, because that's my favorite Godzilla film. To ask what I like so much about it, it's kind of hard to convey into words because I just love it so much. But for me, what I like about Terror Mechagodzilla, my favorite parts, or what I love most about the film, like you said, it's a story. It's a really, really great story. And in a way, it's kind of a contrast to Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, where that film was more so of a fun, campy in a way, especially with the music of that film. It's like I equate to Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla being light and Terror Mechagodzilla being dark. And I love the contrast in the stories. I love Titanosaurus. I think that he was a great villain, and I would have loved to see Godzilla and him just have a fight together in just a movie. Just a movie just dedicated to them, because they really had a great battle. And it didn't involve Mechagodzilla that much, but I'll talk about that on my dislikes. But I do love Titanosaurus. I love Godzilla in this film. I love how he's fighting, being a superhero. Of course, my preference of Godzilla is a villain, but I do like his superhero persona in this film. I also like the fact that Godzilla is not in the film that much. I know that's kind of sound weird from a Godzilla fan, but for me, which also makes me appreciate like the Godzilla 2014 film, where Godzilla once again is not in the film that much. It's like they built his appearance up so well into Mechagodzilla that when you finally see him, when he finally shows up, it's like it makes it even seem more important when he's on screen. I'm not saying that Godzilla should be on screen in every single scene in the film, but they kept him out as long as they could. And when he did finally show up in Tokyo to confront Titanosaurus, and then at the very end to confront both Titanosaurus and Mechagodzilla, I think that was a really great way to go. And I also think that the battle was very, 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 very awesome. I have to be honest, between the two films, I do prefer Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, mainly because of the way they sporadically put the monster action in the film, whereas this film was direct opposite. They put all the action towards the tail end. So that's where I get the 74 film the nod. But I will say the final battle in Terror Mechagodzilla is probably one of the best fight scenes ever. So, with that being said, let's go into the dislikes. Tell me, what do you not like about Terror Mechagodzilla?
Oh, man. See, now that's the tough part. What do I not like? What can I nitpick about this film?
And that's the thing, it's like what I said, when you love these films so much, when you have a favorite film, to try to find something that you don't like, it's basically, it's not really nitpicking, but at the same time, I try to be objective, you know what I'm saying? Because I know a lot of people are not going to feel the same way that we feel. But, you know what I'm saying, but to say that every Godzilla film is perfect is basically just that it's a lie. And but if you had to pick one thing, even just one thing that you don't like, or what you could have changed or whatever, what is that one thing or two things that you don't like about Terror Mechagodzilla?
Oh, well, of course, man, this is tough. I want to say, golly, I guess if I had to pick one little thing, and it's going to sound really stupid because I'm really having to think about this, and it's probably something I don't even hate that much, but I'm just saying it because it's the only thing that I can think of that just bugs me a little bit, is actually the aliens in the film. Yeah. They're not the space apes that they were in the first film, because at the end of the movie when, oh crap, I'm spacing on his name, but when he's strangling the one guy and he takes off like the human face, it's more of like a reptilian type alien look instead of like a monkey. Yeah. So I mean, that's the only thing I can think of is that, are these aliens different, but they seem to have come from the same, thing. They say that they're from the planet, from the black hole and whatnot and all that other stuff. So it's like, That's the only thing that kind of threw me off, that I could say that it's kind of weird that they didn't keep the same consistency with the aliens or whatever, I guess.
Right. So that's the only thing that you don't like about this movie?
That's the only thing, and I mean, I guess another dislike, and if I could say this would be something I would maybe give a twist in Terror of Mechagodzilla, would be like, Titanosaurus, he wasn't fully, evil. He was just under the influence and under control of the evil people.
Right.
Something that I would have changed, and maybe even had like in a deleted scene or something like that, would have been like, Titanosaurus breaks free of the control, and then he somehow knows that Mechagodzilla is the bad guy, and then him and Godzilla team up against Mechagodzilla, like towards the very end there. That would have been kind of neat. Right.
And you know what? I can definitely understand that. However, I see a problem with that scenario, which basically leads into I would say my number one dislike with the film. And that is Mechagodzilla, ironically. Mechagodzilla really disappointed me in this film. To me, and I say this with all sincerity, and if you watch the film, and if you know how these films work, to me, Titanosaurus was the star of the film, despite the title. And the title really was kind of misleading, which basically really is kind of a trend that happened through the majority of the 70s films, except for Godzilla vs. Hedorah. That movie, we saw Godzilla vs. Hedorah throw down a lot. Godzilla vs. Gigan, Godzilla and Gigan didn't really fight that much in the film. Godzilla vs. Megalon, Godzilla and Megalon didn't really fight that much in the film. Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, it wasn't a straight-up one-on-one battle between those two. So the title is kind of misleading, but I did enjoy Mechagodzilla in a city setting, seeing him finally destroy buildings and all that good stuff. But to me, his performance was very, very lackluster. There were times, and I said this with Brutezilla on our Godzilla vs. Gigan discussion, that I think that also another story. I said in that film, if there was a story where Godzilla really should have lost, it's really the Gigan. But also, I said the same thing about Terror Mechagodzilla. If Mechagodzilla was the robot that he was in the 74 film, with Titanosaurus, backing him up, because basically in the first film, Godzilla needed help to defeat Mechagodzilla. This time, Mechagodzilla has backup, and Godzilla has nobody to back him up. So in theory, if Mechagodzilla was the robot that he was in the previous film, they should have really killed Godzilla. Really.
Yeah.
That's my major gripe with the films. That Mechagodzilla isn't what he was or what I expected him to be when this movie came about. And like I said, the title is very, very misleading. You would think to Mechagodzilla that we would have saw a lot more action from him, or you would have saw him a little bit more, maybe more evil, more destructive.
Right. I agree with you there, because in the movie, we see him destroy the city and everything like that, and then towards the final battle, he's just kind of standing there off to the sideline, and Titanosaurus is kind of doing all the work against Godzilla.
Yeah, pretty much. And like I said, even if they did it that way, which they did, I just felt like that if the aliens really wanted to destroy the world, why couldn't have Titanosaurus fight Godzilla somewhere else and have just Mechagodzilla stay in the city and destroy the city, which is the objective of Mechagodzilla being rebuilt in the first place.
Yeah.
But that's my major gripe with Terror Mechagodzilla. But other than that, I do believe it still is a solid film. Now, mind you, when I first saw it on a VHS tape back in the day, I should have covered this earlier, but I didn't. I'm sorry. But it was really the edited version. And the edited version cut out a lot of the violence. And in that version, you don't see Katsura killing herself. You don't see just all the extreme violence. And then you don't see Dr. Mifune dying, getting shot. You don't see all that stuff. So when I finally saw the uncut version, I was really like, oh. So that's what that's what makes sense. So basically, that's all I have to say as far as my dislikes of Terror Mechagodzilla, because I really do enjoy the film. I do like it being not really a carbon copy of Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, but I do like it being a contrast to it. And my only other gripe other than that, maybe because the monster action is basically not like spliced through the film at certain points, like the 74 film where they put everything towards the end. But at the same time, it makes me appreciate what they did, and it makes me appreciate this film even more. So what has this film impacted as far as your life is concerned? I know that you wanted the X Plus Titanosaurus for a long time. So could you go in a little detail about that, or how has this film impacted your life?
This film impacted my life, and just, I mean, it brought to light, what I decided on was my favorite monster in the Godzilla series. And this was like, before I even saw any of the Heisei films or the Millennium films or anything like that, I was like, Titanosaurus, he's the man for me. He's like my spirit kaiju.
Right.
And it really got me, and I think that's around the time where I really started to get into, like, collecting, the figures and stuff like that. Granted, I was still a young kid and everything, but that was when I was always looking at, the flea markets and stuff like that for whatever I could scoundre up back then.
Right.
And now it's like, if I can find anything of Titanosaurus that I don't have, I pretty much nab it up. And it's like, with the hunt for the X Plus and everything like that, I was hunting for that figure for several years, and then Rich Iso finally helped me out with that and hooked me up with one.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate his help on that. And it's like, I have an M1 Titanosaurus, I have the Bandai, I just got to keep getting some more and more and more if I can, maybe some, the Bullmark. You got some, I believe there's some Marmots of Titanosaurus out there, plus a few different colors of the M1 variants, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like there's still a lot out there I could get for Titanosaurus that I have on my wish list. But, yeah, it impacted me in a way to where it's like it brought to me my favorite kaiju, and it just really kind of opened the door for, what I wanted to look for and collect and stuff.
Okay, great. That's very, very great. Very insightful. At the time of this recording, it is March 26, 2016. Any X Plus collectors out there that's listening to this discussion, the X Plus Titanosaurus is going to be reissued through Diamond in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Yep.
So, Everett, you want to tell them why they should get this figure?
Why you should get this figure is the X Plus 30cm Titanosaurus is one of those rare gems that X Plus released. And you look for it nowadays on eBay and everything, you couldn't find him for almost less than $1,000, it seemed like. He was getting up in those crazy prices.
Absolutely.
And I ended up nabbing mine for, $400, which, this was, I believe it was almost 2 years ago now. So $400, which was the best I could find. Rich found it for me, and I just jumped on it because that was the lowest I've ever seen one. And again, Rich, thank you for your help with that if you ever watch this. And but you definitely, now that it's coming out for $160, or $150, $160, I'm jealous of all you collectors who are able to jump on that now. I mean, granted, it was 2 years ago when I got mine, and I jumped on it because that was before I didn't know Diamond was going to reissue it. If I knew they were going to reissue it 2 years ago, I probably wouldn't have got the original Japanese release. But just having the original Japanese release and, what I went through to get it, with Mr. Fresh Vinyl's help and everything like that, that figure means just so much more to me, even though I did pay, $400 for it.
Right.
It means a lot more, and it has a lot of sentimental value.
Right.
It's the most prized figure in my collection. And even for all of you who are getting the Diamond reissue, and I'm just saying this right now, I have the best 30cm X Plus Titanosaurus out there, because not only do I have the original, it's not the Rick Boy, but I probably have something better than the Rick Boy version.
Right.
I mean, of course, I had Rich Iso sign the box, so I got Rich Iso's Mr. Fresh Vinyl signature on the box, as well as the second time I went to G-Fest, I had to get Tomoko Ai's signature on the box cover art, as well as Katsukyo Sasaki. I got his signature on the box, too. So I got Mr. Fresh Vinyl's signature, and I got the 2 stars from Terror of Mechagodzilla signatures on the box. And so, I mean, I don't think there's a Titanosaurus out there that can top mine. I'm just saying.
Right. And you know what? And there's nothing wrong with that. And, at the time, I mean, of course, with these reissues coming back, what I'm saying, it kind of makes us guys, us collectors who got the figure beforehand, like, wow, have we waited? But at the time, we didn't know that Diamond was going to reissue these figures, or they were going to enter an agreement with X Plus in the first place. So at the time, you say you paid $400 for yours. My wife got mine as a birthday gift. I think she paid like maybe $325 for for mine. So at the time, that was really good considering how he had shot up in price over the years before the reissues came out. But that was the perfect price for us. But also at the same time, with now it's being cheaper, I'm really glad that anybody who's a fan of Mechagodzilla or Titanosaurus in general now is going to be able to get it for at least for an affordable price. So I'm really happy I'm really happy for the next guy, and that's what it's all about. Before we get into our final thoughts, before we wrap this up, I gotta ask you. You just mentioned, how was it when you saw those actors in person at G-Fest a couple of years ago from Mechagodzilla?
The day that I was bringing my Titanosaurus box in to get signed by them, David Arabdopko, me and my father, we were all at Denny's with David, Rich, Paul, and I think that was it. It was just those three guys and me and my father. And we were all there at Denny's and everything, and then it started raining that day, and so they were all stranded at Denny's because they walked there from the hotel, and so we gave them all a ride over, and David even asked me why we were all in the car. He's like, so how excited are you to get Tomoko Ai's signature on there? And I was like, dude, I feel like screaming like a little girl, I'm so excited. And when I saw Tomoko Ai and everything, even though she has some years on her, she looks great. And same with Sasaki, he looked great too. It's like, and it was an honor for me to, get the box signed by them, get pictures taken, shake their hands, give Tomoko Ai a hug. That was like a dream come true for me. I was on cloud nine. Let's just put it that way.
Right. I know I'm gonna feel the same way in July when I meet Akira Takarada. So that's why I was asking you about. How did it feel? To meet two stars from your favorite Godzilla film of all time, and just meet them in person after watching the film millions and millions of times. I know that it was even more special for you because it's your favorite film. You got to see him in person, and I'm really happy for you.
Getting the front box cover art for the 30-centimeter Titanosaurus signed by both of them. Plus, I got my copy of the movie signed by him as well.
Yes.
So I still can't believe I have their signatures on the movie and the front cover box art for the figure.
Great.
That still just blows my mind to this day.
And you know what? That's awesome. That is so awesome. So let's go and give our final thoughts of Terra Mechagodzilla. I know it's going to be positive on your end. It's going to be positive on my end too. So basically, just give me your final thoughts. Like, what does this film mean to you, and would you recommend this to a Kaiju newbie? And where do you think this film stands in the Godzilla franchise as a whole?
Well, what this film means for me is it's pretty much, it's my favorite film, so it's at the top of my list for, anything Godzilla. Would I recommend it to a Kaiju newbie? I would, but then first off, I would recommend they see Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla first, then go into Terra Mechagodzilla, because the two movies are connected. When you got Godzilla movies that are connected like that, you always got to go for the one that came first. Kind of like if, you were to recommend Godzilla versus Biollante to somebody, you got to have them see Godzilla 1984.
Absolutely.
Because then they're going to ask questions.
Absolutely.
So, but yes, and again, this movie just means so much to me. It's my favorite film, and it's, again, it's hard to put these things into words. I got to give it a solid, out of a score of 10 stars, other than the little tiny nitpicks, I got to give it like a 9.5 out of 10.
Great. And where do you think this film stands in the Godzilla franchise? Like, do you think it's up there, like maybe in the top 5. I mean, let's say that you were never a fan of this movie, and let's say that that you probably saw it like one time in your life, and you love it the way you love it now. By you watching it millions of times, of course, you have a love for it that is never going back. But if you look at it from an unbiased and objective pair of eyes, would you put this film in the top 5 of Godzilla films in terms of story?
Most definitely. I mean, again, the story is great and how it progresses and everything. I think it's just an outstanding film. Again, I love it. So yes, it would definitely be in top 5.
And you know what? I'm gonna go to my final thoughts. I really do love this film. Like I said, I like it being a contrast from the '74 Mechagodzilla film. But now that I'm older now and doing research on the film, I'm able to appreciate it more. I know some folks have heard me say it before, but that's how it is. I mean, for me, and I can't speak for Everett, but I gain appreciation more for this film each time that I see it. It just reminds me of how great the Showa series was. I know a lot of folks out there, especially Millennium fans and Heisei fans. I know some folks out there don't like the Showa series, especially the '70s films, because they made Godzilla into this goofy superhero, which is fine, and you're entitled to your opinion or whatever. But for me, I think that's what made Godzilla so great. The fact that in the Showa series, of course, the films were kind of goofy or cheesy or campy or lighthearted or whatever. That's fine. But in those films, he had, from the original '54 film, where he was basically a dark, brutal reminder of how nature can be, really pissed off and just he basically he's like a dark reminder of nature's retribution. To go from that to saving the world in this film is really, really great. In between, and it's okay. And in between, he's been everything. He's been a father figure. He's been an anti-hero. He's been so many different things. And I think this film is a culmination of why the Showa series was so great. And unbeknownst to people at the time, this was the last Godzilla film of the Showa series. But it wasn't meant to be. In between 75 and 84, when they brought Godzilla back, they did try to get some scripts off the ground, but they couldn't get it done. So that's how Mechagodzilla earns the distinction of being the last Godzilla film of the Showa series. And I think it embodies everything about what was great about the Showa series. Great special effects, a great story. You have Godzilla fighting a Godzilla-like creature, and him saving the world against an alien invasion. That's basically everything that we love about the Showa series, and I think in one package. And I think that that basically the whole storyline of Katsura dying at the end, where it was a bittersweet, where Godzilla did defeat both Titanosaurus and Mechagodzilla to save the world, you still feel for Ichinose when he lost Katsura.
Oh, yeah, because, it also has a love story in it.
It's a love story.
Exactly.
And to me, I look beyond that. I think that's how the creators felt about the Godzilla series as a whole, because, during this time, towards the late 60s, going to the 70s, with television being the most popular medium, the Japanese film industry, especially kaiju films in general, took a massive hit. And there was no point of going and seeing these films, paying to see them in the theater, where you can see the same type of action on a TV show at home for free. So these films really took a massive hit. And I think that because of the storyline of Katsura and Godzilla being triumphant at the end, I think that's how the directors felt, the filmmakers felt, that it was just time. It was just time to put it to an end. Of course, it wasn't supposed to be like that, but to me, I think that it is so full circle with this film, with the original creators coming back. The fact you have the guy who played Dr. Serizawa, he's in this film in a somewhat similar role as a tortured scientist. You have Godzilla's theme, which is basically a sped up version of his original theme in the '54 film. It's just so many things about this film that ties in with the original film, but yet it's a culmination of how great the Showa series was. And that's why I love this film so much. And that's why it has a very, very special meaning in my heart. And I would highly recommend seeing this film. But like Everett said, I would suggest you see Godzilla Mechagodzilla first, since this basically is a sequel, a direct sequel to this film. So that's my take of Terror Mechagodzilla. And once again, Everett Grondin, I thank you so much for being a part of this, and I hope y'all enjoyed this discussion of Everett's favorite Godzilla film in the entire Godzilla film franchise, Terror of Mechagodzilla 1975. You got anything else you want to add before we fade out of here?
Just thank you for having me here for this little discussion and, little, insight and review on the film, and just really appreciate being a part of it.
And like I said, who better to talk about this film than the number one fan of this film than you? You know what I'm saying? Plus, we're close, and I consider you a good friend. So I look at this, even though it's an audio commentary review of the film, I look at it more as a conversation between friends about our favorite Godzilla film. And
exactly.
And it's just so awesome, man. Before we go, I want to ask you, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 1993. That's also one of your favorites too, right?
I do like the movie. Now that what's my favorite of that is that's my favorite version of Mechagodzilla.
Yes, that's right.
I love the 93 Mecha-G.
Okay, so what is your number 2 favorite Godzilla film then?
Oh, golly, I'm trying to now you got me thinking about what my list was when I did I think it was my top 10 favorite Godzilla films that I did.
I know it's not a Millennium title.
Yeah, no, it's not a Millennium title. There wasn't a single Millennium title in that list.
Yeah.
Oh man, what was my second film? Shucks, I don't even remember now.
Let's just count them down. Is the original 54? Raise Again?
It might have been the 54. I can't believe I can't remember my own top 10 list.
Is it King Kong versus Godzilla? Is it?
No, I don't think it was King Kong versus Godzilla.
Son of Godzilla?
No.
Godzilla.
And I know it wasn't Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla was either 3 or 4. It was close to 2. God, what was number 2? I can't even remember what number 2 was. Man, I feel so embarrassed. I can't remember what it is now.
No, it's fine. Is it Hedra? Is it Megalon? Is it 84?
No. I think I know. You know what? Now that I'm looking at my DVD shelf, I think it was Godzilla versus Biollante.
You know what? How about this? The next time we talk, let's review that.
All right, that sounds good.
You heard it here first, folks. So once again, Everett Grondin, Godzilla Fan Freaks, go to his YouTube channel. You would not be disappointed. Be a subscriber, support. You would not be disappointed. This guy knows what he's talking about. He's very passionate. One of the best guys out there, and a sterling reminder of why this Godzilla hobby is the best hobby in the world. And don't let anybody tell you different. And tune in next time to our Kaiju discussion between me and Everett on Godzilla versus Biollante. Once again, thank you, Everett. I really do appreciate it. And
thank you very much.
No problem. Once again, like I said, our next discussion between him and I will be Godzilla versus Biollante. All right? Thank you, Everett. I appreciate it. And I thank y'all for listening. And I will see y'all again on this figure and move review. All right? Y'all take it easy.